as you know that 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Gauteng, emphasized during his MTBPS speech that, and I quote, "We are choosing growth, stability, and reform." Today, as we table the provincial MTBPS, as the Gauteng Provincial Government, we want to affirm that we remain singularly focused on protecting social services, supporting inclusive growth, and ensuring that every rand derives tangible value and benefits to the people of Gauteng. This event takes place as the country commemorates the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children campaign. We therefore applaud the decision by President Ramaphosa to declare gender-based violence as national disaster. GBV is not only a social, political, and public health emergency, it is also an economic crisis with significant direct and indirect costs to individuals, communities, businesses, and national economies. This MTBPS also takes place a week after South Africa hosted a successful G20 Leaders Summit. According to the National Department of Tourism, early data indicates that this province generated more than 1 billion from the hosting of the G20 Summit. We welcome the significant injection of funds into the fiscus coming out at the time when resources constraints continue to pose the challenge to public services. Turning to the economic outlook, the South African Reserve Bank has forecasted national growth of 1.3% in 2025, 1.4% in 2026, and 1.9% in 2027 and 2028. The size of our province's economic output reached 2.4 trillion in 2024. This means that the province remains by far the economic hub of South Africa, responsible for 33 rands out of every 100 rands the country's economy produces. Gauteng economy is larger than the economies of KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape combined. However, we understand that the economy of this province must record far higher growth rates to lift South Africa's GDP, accelerate the creation of much-needed jobs, and reduce poverty. It is for this reason that the Provincial Executive Council recently approved the Gauteng City Region Economic Growth and Development Plan. The GCREGDP is intended to contribute to the 3 strategic priorities of the 7th administration, which includes inclusive economic growth and job creation, improved living conditions, and enhanced health and well-being, and a capable ethical and developmental state. We are confident that the effective implementation of this strategy will set Gauteng on a positive economic growth path and create much-needed jobs amid global headwinds and domestic economic challenges. As we have said before, we are operating in a difficult environment in which we must find ways to strike a balance between the growing demand for public services and the fiscally constrained economy. We are addressing Gauteng's fiscal trajectory through a combination of active debt management strategies and spending restraint. As part of our plans to ensure long-term fiscal sustainability, we have developed the new Gauteng Provincial Government-wide revenue enhancement strategy. This strategy was approved by the Provincial Executive Council in October 2025, and it will enable the provincial government to increase own revenue collection, which would be used towards resourcing our priorities. When we retable the 2025-2026 main budget on the 3rd of June 2025, we emphasized our commitment to enhancing our internal processes to achieve operational efficiencies and fight fraud and corruption in government. Today, we are launching the pilot phase of TenderSwift, Gauteng's new e-procurement platform that has been developed in partnership with the Gauteng Management Agency to automate and digitize the entire tender management process in the province. Tender Swift, which is available on the e-tender website of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury, is a modern e-procurement platform designed to streamline processes, strengthen oversight, and provide the functionality needed for the effective public procurement in the digital era. One tender from the Provincial Treasury has been advertised already on Tender Swift, while another from the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency will be advertised on the 5th of December 2025. This demonstrates our commitment to transparency, open competition, and a modernized procurement system. For many years, government procurement systems relied heavily on manual, paper-based submissions that created inefficiencies, delays, and opportunities for malpractice. Thus, this is not merely a technological upgrade. It is a strategic intervention aimed at ensuring that every supplier, regardless of size or location, has equal access to opportunities. In partnership with National Treasury and the Department of E-Government, we are automating the paper-based request for quotation and RLS 01's processes. The aim is to integrate and automate budgeting and procurement processes, as well as improving the turnaround times and overall processing efficiency in the province. The invoice management system that we introduced in April this year to provide suppliers with simple, user-friendly portal to submit and track invoices is performing well. In the year to November, more than 8,000 suppliers interacted with the invoice management system and submitted 165,000 invoices valued at 35.6 billion. A total of 83% of these invoices were paid within 30 days province-wide. As part of initiatives to support small businesses, we are operating the purchasing card platform that offers an additional economical participation option for transactions at this stage under 30,000. We're looking at the possibility of increasing it. In the current financial year, more than 500 merchants have benefited from this facility, with nearly 3 million in total spent processed through the P-card system on average per month. This initiative has played a key role in supporting SMMEs to remain economically active within Gauteng. More options are being explored to make this mechanism to reach a wider spectrum. Let me now turn and reflect on the adjustment budget, which is focused on addressing the frontline services as a means of equipping Gauteng Provincial Government to continue responding to the provincial imperatives underpinning the 2024 to 2029 MTBPS and the G13 priorities. The total adjustment is 3.3 billion, which includes the rollovers, national and provincial funding, meaning our budget is adjusted upwards from 172 plus to 175 plus. As part of this adjustment budget, we are allocating an additional 2.2 billion to provincial departments, and these funds are allocated as follows. The Office of the Premier will receive an additional amount of 43.9 million, of which 40.8 million goes towards honoring outstanding claims from the Life Asset Many mental health users projects, and the 2.8 million for the filling of critical posts. The Department of Health is allocated 1.1 billion towards offsetting the pressures in the goods and services baseline, and a further 90 million towards its infrastructure program. The Department of Education will receive 507.8 million, of which 200 million is to alleviate pressures in the compensation of employees, a line item, and the balance to scholar transport, school nutrition, and school safety, which are key goods and services cost drivers. The Department of Social Development is allocated 103.9 million, of which 3.5 million is for 35.5 million for augmenting infrastructure program allocation, and the balance towards goods and services items exhibiting pressure. The Department of Community Safety is allocated 92.6 million to alleviate pressures facing various items under goods and services. The Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation will receive 10 million, of which about 6 million is towards the summer games that will be taking place in December 2025, but they will also be helping to host the final send-off Bafana Bafana game, which will be in our province. This initiative keeps communities constructively engaged and active in various ways during the festive season. A total of 3 million will be allocated towards goods and services and 1 million for the compensation of employees. A total of 400 million is allocated to e-government, of which 200 million is to address the looming obsolescence of equipment for the Gauteng Provincial Network, and the balance of 200 million towards offsetting pressing commitments under goods and services. The Department of Infrastructure Development is allocated 200 million to alleviate pressures in goods and services and 13 million for the compensation of employees. In conclusion, let me say over the past few months, water insecurity challenges in the province have led to service delivery protests in some of our communities. The frustrations by our residents and businesses in the province are valid. In this context, we welcome the recent launch of System 5A, yet another construction feed by bulk water utility Rand Water. Rand Water is executing its augmentation program through the construction of the said water purification facility. System 5A will add 600 million liters a day to Rand Water's capacity, of which 150 million liters a day is already in use, with the full commissioning and handover expected by the end of December 2025. The implications of System 5A are significant and go beyond ensuring water availability until 2031. The economy of Gauteng and South Africa broadly is heavily reliant on water resources. Rand Water, led by its Group Chief Executive Officer, Sipho Musai, must be commended for the significant work that is doing to ensure that the Gauteng province addresses its water security challenges. But this work depends on the commitment of municipalities to strengthen their own water governance, which is a key requisition for ensuring that households and businesses in Gauteng can continue to function optimally. That's the end of our statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC. Colleagues, now we are going to take a few questions before the MEC goes to the House. Just remember to say who you are and the organization, the media house that you represent, and then you can ask a question. Any takers? I'm not introduced Steven. Any takers this side? That side, before we come, okay, we'll start with Christine.
Thank you. My name is Steven Sakwe, editor of the first question on my side is regarding the economic outlook that was based by guidance minister was very positive in his address. So are we looking at the same specific narrative when it comes to this address this morning from your side? And what are the positives are we taking from Gauteng, especially progress made in the metros over the past year in terms of infrastructure development? Because it was really noted from last year's investment conference that a lot of money is going to go to investment projects for the metros, but over the past year since 2017, we are yet to report on any progress that has been done in the metros in terms of the past year. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. MEC?
You can take others, I don't know.
Okay, any other questions, colleagues, before MEC responds?
Otherwise we can respond, it's fine.
Oh, Nick?
Thank you. Nick and Lake on this news. I just want to find out from the MEC to elaborate on illicit trade. I know Corona spoke about it, how much that it affect Gauteng.
Okay. MEC?
Thank you. maybe starting with Stephen. As you know, we are a unitary state, so we are not a federal state. So that's why even the budget process is interwoven. So when the minister presents his budget, we are expected by law 30 days after the minister has presented his budget that we must present our budget. And that is because the process of drafting the budget that the minister ultimately presents includes the two other spheres of government, ourselves and the municipalities. And during that process, we develop a shared perspective on the economic outlook and a whole range of issues based on facts presented before us, not on our. And as you correctly say, it is positive currently. I mean, you look at the rating agencies, you look at the exchange rate, amongst others, and a whole range of issues that were raised. So we are continuing on that trajectory to reaffirm, because as I've said, that perspective of the minister, it's our perspective. We have shaped it together with him, and there's no way that we can articulate something different. One of the things we might not be saying, and that we might say in the main budget, is the target for economic growth in the province. You will know the president has set 3% at the national level. But what does it mean for us as Gauteng? Which is something that we can't rush into answering. We have to get facts and work with the various relevant structures to help us come to it. But we've got an economic plan, as we are saying here. And that economic plan has got specific targets, including the sectors that we want to focus on in the province. And as you say, there was the investment conference, the inaugural, this year, April. We are hosting another one next year. And in that one, we will be giving progress report on the work done. We are working on converting the pledges, because post investment conference, the work continues. The investment conference is not just that event that day. We continue to work, help the potential investors to respond to a whole range of issues, including to convert some of their pledges into actual projects. We should be able, as we prepare for the investment conference in April, when we give you the main budget, hopefully give you the report on how far we've gone, how many projects have been converted, as a build-up to that. Well, illicit trading is a problem, especially for a province as big as Gauteng. But as to what are the numbers, I don't have, because it happens in different sectors, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, whether it's clothing, it happens across. But the impact are hugely negative for the economy, not just the Gauteng economy. I mean, I met with the designer of Amaxhosa, and I didn't know that there's a Amaxhosa outfit that is done in China with a different material. You might think that you're wearing a proper one, so you must check. And that's why I don't go to different outlets. If you want that, you must go to their shop, because there's a lot of fake out there. I'm just making an example to show you how big this is. If you can get a South African made product being made in other countries without any approval from the owners of the design. So we've got a problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, MC. You'll come this side, you start here, and then we'll end there.
Thank you, Chairperson. MC, I'm just...
You are...
Introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Kungoje from IO. I'm just checking, MC. Recently, there was a march which was propagated by the crash owners around Gauteng.
By what?
The crash owners, the principals of the crashes.
Oh.
The federation of Gauteng. Then they submitting a memorandum to the MEC education. They were claiming in the list of grievance that they were promised an reduction in their salaries, a stipend, sort of. And also they were complaining of the grants for the feeding scheme that they used to feed the school kids. And also the transportation amount which is paid to the transport owners, which is not paid. Now they were suffering. They were there in Library Gardens. They were promised by MEC that the increment will be made, but it has not been made. Now I'm checking, as you are talking about MEC of adjustment, is how far has that gone? Has it been attended to?
Another Supremasa from EKFM. MEC, I understand Minister in the past 3 weeks alluded to South Africa receiving money at about 1.5 billion to build metros in South Africa. Do you, by any chance, know how much will be allocated to Gauteng and specifically to Ekurhuleni? Because I'm from Ekurhuleni, so I just want to know as to how much will be allocated to Ekurhuleni from that money.
Yeah, morning. Mtunzi is my name from Gauteng News. I just wanted to check with the MEC. It's a follow-up of illicit or fake goods. As they are costing the UPS billions, what needs to happen to stop this to happen from the side of the state? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. MEC.
Do you want to take some? The HOD will start. Then Mr. Villaras will edit something. I'll come back.
Good morning, MEC, and good morning, colleagues. In terms of issues relating to crash owners, there is a grant for the Department of Education, which relates to early childhood development, and there was a need that was identified. For example, a component of that grant that's coming through, but the department will do the allocation, is talking to issues of overall the subsidy, which caters for a number of aspects that go into how the early childhood development grants are all about, and there is a component that deals with infrastructure in that space. And as MEC has indicated, that also some of the rollovers and the funding that's going to the department, the additional allocation, it relates to issues specifically for the Department of Education. It relates to issues of scholar transport, as you've indicated, school nutrition and the like. So the areas that national is identified as pressure points. And then the department will have to do their analysis and do the necessary allocations. But there is provision being made, appreciating the constrained resources that we have. So it might not be to the full extent of what has been requested, but there are headways being made in that regard. And then on the side of additional allocation to metros, so this current budget is a budget that deals with unforeseen and unavoidable. So such big allocations, so at this point in time, to the Gauteng. And also I think what we need to appreciate is that this process is focusing mostly on the part of the budget that's being tabled by the MEC is focusing on the provincial government in terms of the adjustment is tabling, but in the main budget, so around February, early February, the minister will indicate what is going to happen with all those allocations. So it will be something that will be dealt with in the main budget around February and March. So that is, so at this point in time we don't have answers in that regard, but when those allocations are made, they are made directly to the municipalities. Yes.
Yeah, so I was going to say, as you say, the MEC promised the money, so you must go and ask the MEC, where is that money? Because we are giving the MEC his budget, but the MEC decide how he uses his budget. So we don't decide for departments, and that's why I don't answer for them, because me and them, meaning the MECs, we are responsible for the departments that we are in. Though on the budget issue, I have additional responsibilities like taking the whole budget to the legislature. So, but as the HOD has said, in fact, in the budget, this one, there is a conditional grant coming from National Department of Education on ECD matters. So I hope it's going to deal with that. And that conditional grant is how much?
363 million.
Yeah, there's about 363 million additional. So because now I'm giving you an angle for a story, because you're writing about the ECDs. So your angle is Gauteng gives ECDs 365 million. Or we must say Maile answers Matume's problems or misery. So I'm giving you tips. Then you can have that. So at least you got the answer on the 365. Yeah, 363 on that budget. So I think the first thing we must stop, as I said, buying illicit things. You know, even alcohol, and I know Robert Babanzo and all that. That's where people go, and that's where the illicit things are being sold. That's where we must start. But then we need to tighten laws, and we need to get the police to arrest, and you must enforce the law. There's no other thing, because this is devastating the economy, and we will not be able to create jobs and grow the economy if we don't deal with this effectively. Yeah.
Colleagues, one last round before MEC leaves. Okay, Stephen, we'll start with you and then me. Yeah.
Thank you. I was just wanting to get more information about tender swift, and I also wanted to find out in terms of business opportunities and procurement opportunities within the province. Mainly they avail themselves through tenders, but it's also the way of being a service provider. So will the tender swift offer the vendors who want to become service providers to the province and its respective departments, or will it just cater for the individual tenders that are coming out? Because that's the two ways people are getting business opportunities from the province, either being a service provider or either through tenders. So we just want to know, is it only good to cover tenders, or will it also avail opportunities for service providers that provide services on an ongoing basis? Thank you.
Right, your cash statement spoke about attracting investments, creating jobs, improving quality of life. But I'm interested in investment. How difficult it is to get investment? That's question one. question 2, you tend to forget to tell us how happy you are, because I know it's the second year as a head honcho of finance and economic development. Have you seen any difference? Are you happy with the way money is being spent by departments? Thank you.
Thank you. MEC.
Stephen, I don't understand. You know, in government, you talk about service provider and tender and all that. But what I know is that in government, everyone, whether you got tender, in fact, there's only the law prescribes how government must acquire services. So in the PFMA, so it talks about a fair process, a transparent process, a competitive process. So whichever way that if I need someone to, that's why you have two processes. What you commonly know as a tender, that they will advertise for anything above $1 million. That process has to be competitive, it has to be fair, there must be value for money. Then there's services that are acquired which are below $1 million. That's where you send what you call quotations. So that's where we had a problem in Tembisa. If you remember, below 1 million, they give each other friends and all that. So when you look at what we are presenting today, we are dealing with two problems. The issue of the tenders, which is anything above $1 million to acquire service, and then the issue of the 3 quotations. So that's why we presented about 2 products there. We said there's one that we are piloting with National Treasury, and then we said there's a system there. I've said PICAT. If you see in the statement, they'll give you a statement. So that is like a, if you like, it's like when you buy a time and you get a voucher or whatever, and they have a voucher, and you upload money and all that. So that helps small businesses. That's why it's sitting at 30,000, and we're looking at whether we should increase it or not to be able to help small businesses. When you get an order, for instance, to buy this water and deliver to government, it's a system like that. But then there's another thing that we're talking about here in the statement, which is called the market. What is that?
Right, market price data solution.
Yeah, market price data solution. What we are trying to do there is to say, as much as we want you to make money as Stephen, but if this water is 10 rands at macro, government can't buy it for 50 rands. So we will then have to go through. So there's a lot of reforms we are introducing. And maybe someday we will have time and sit with yourselves just to fight corruption. So I have not said anything here saying corruption. If you read, but it doesn't mean we're not doing anything. All these things that we are doing them to fight corruption. So we want to make sure that you no longer have a repeat of what you had in Tembisa. And the only way to avoid that is to eliminate human interference. So that's what we are doing. So Tender Swift is just a name. Basically what it means is that you are no longer going to tender by submitting a document or a file, and somebody interferes with your file. They take out your documents and say you don't qualify. So this is a system. If you go to the Treasury website now, I actually went there, Jody. The tender that we have advertised, the first one, on cleaning and hygiene. You go there, you must be able to fill all your details there. If they want the ID copy, director's thing, address, you need to upload and put it on the system. Those people who are going to adjudicate, they are going to go into the system and adjudicate. By the way, that's how we have adjudicated the second Gauteng concession tender. It was done. So what we are talking about, we are not talking about we are planning to do this. You'll remember in the last budget, I spoke about our intentions to pilot a digitized tender system. It was an intention when we spoke. And I even mentioned that it's going to be 5, Premier's Office, Treasury, Department of Transport, GGDA, and I can't remember who, where we are piloting. So today we are reporting progress to say we set this, and now and this is very important because there is no government that I know of, at least in the world, because I know you guys always talk about Western Cape. They don't come anywhere near us in terms of fighting corruption. And that I can declare without any fear of contradiction. Because we started by introducing what we call an open tender system in Gauteng. And one of the reasons, in fact, why our audit outcomes have improved significantly over the years is because of the open tender system. We have probity auditors. These are independent people who look at the tender process. So in addition to that, we are bringing technology, we are digitizing. So who can be as transparent as us? No one. Because we are fighting corruption not just by pronouncements. We are serious about this thing of fighting corruption. And I remember the other day when I was briefing the Premier about some of these things, he was even saying, hey, these people are going to kill us because of the measures that we are putting in Gauteng. It will be very difficult. So that's why now, in the next coming few months, we want to tighten the system, sharpen the screws. And in fact, you'll be shocked. A lot of people are worried that why are you, and these are not people who are in government, because people ask the question, how are you going to make this thing work? If you say it's AI, which AI? All that. We say, let's start by implementing, and we can answer those questions. We should not just complain and say there is corruption, but we don't use technology to fight corruption. So Tender Swift is basically about bringing about transparency, helping to eliminate human errors. We hope that ultimately at some point you can post the tender digitally and there will not even have to be human involvement. The system can decide and see who is, because that way you deal with this thing of connections. That way you don't have to be coming to me and ask me, hey, MEC, I want the tender, I want this and that. You will know that for someone to be minister or MEC, it doesn't matter. You can do business. That's what we want. That's what we want. You see, people are in trouble. If there was this system, there wouldn't be a Madlanga Commission or ad hoc. I can tell you now. This is what we are trying to do to avoid future Madlanga Commission. And then on the issue of, it is very difficult, as you know, when you look at the economy, not just locally, we've had difficult situations starting with COVID, which has set us back seriously. And then you have had the energy crisis, because remember, when investors come to a country, they want things to be made easy for them. For instance, energy must be reliable and energy must be affordable, especially those who are manufacturing. And I'm happy when you look at what the Minister of Energy says and electricity, that they are now no longer just looking at reliability, they are also looking at the cost of energy, which is very important for, and as I've said, we're a unitary state. So if you talk about the fortunes of Gauteng, it can be in isolation from the economic situation in the country. And that's why when there's a crime problem, whether it's in the Western Cape, in Gauteng, in KZN, it has to worry us. And that's why in our economic development plan, one of the pillars is safety and security, and we tabulate 10 points of fighting crime, which is part of our crime fighting strategy. In fact, at some point, probably in January, I will call you to just take you through our economic plan. because we've got a plan for the economy of Gauteng. That's important. What is the plan? We can answer there. So we are. It's very difficult, but you have seen with the people who pledged at the investment conference, there is appetite. There are a lot of people who want to come here, and there are people who are already here. It is said that in Gauteng you've got, in Johannesburg specifically, at least $12,000 millionaires. So these are people whose wealth is equivalent to dollars, even when they convert, they are millions. They live here in Johannesburg. But that money is not being invested and all that. So when we talk about investment, it's no longer about going to get people from other countries and all that. In fact, even in our investment conference, I think 50+% of the pledges are locally based people. So the investors are here, they are with us. We don't have to be going around looking for them. The question is, what will it take for them to invest? And then that's the question we must answer, and we must be able, and one of them is to deal with corruption. One of them is to deal with crime. One of them is to deal with potholes, deal with robots that are not functioning and all that. So it has been difficult. Look, we will never say we are, I'm not sure if happy is the right word, but how would you rate, Jody, will we say we are satisfied? Because we're getting there, because we would like to spend 100%. We don't want to see regular expenditure. We don't want to see rollovers. We don't want to see accruals. So you still have something. So when you decide that you are happy or satisfied and all that, there has to be a barometer that you use. So all these things that I'm talking about, if we were to make, we spend 99% of our budget. But what is 1% of our budget that's not spent? It's 1.9 billion. So I can say we are happy we have spent 99%, but once you ask and say, what is 1%? And you get to know that is 1.9 billion. Why would I be satisfied with the underspending of 1.9 billion? It's big. So that's why you will understand what I'm saying. I wouldn't know. I have to think about it in terms of how do I describe my feelings about the budget. But I'm saying there's a lot of variables that you need to look at, and on that basis you must be. But we are confident because we have a good working relationship with our departments, and they're cooperating, and there's a will. Most importantly, from ourselves and everyone else to ensure that we change the situation. Thank you very much.